And good morning from outside London Victoria Station. This morning, I've come to catch the tube, but not the London Underground tube, but this coach service here instead. It's the Oxford Tube.
Yes, today I'm travelling out from London to Oxford on board the Oxford Tube. That's a 24-hour express coach service that's operated by Stagecoach. And first, I'll go on board to see what a trip is like.
This is nice. This is a nice, I want to say bus. It's a coach. Is it a coach or a bus? Let's go with a coach. It's nice.
And then we go behind the scenes to look around their depot in Oxford.
This is where we do most of the outer work on the vehicles.
And I get a chance to ask many questions, including the main one. Why is it called the Oxford Tube anyway?
It was called that to really help it line it in with the rest of London. So Tube is obviously a nickname for the Underground, but isn't a name that they use officially.
So let's go ride the Oxford Tube. So I'm getting on board to ride for the next 2 hours. But before I settle in, let's have a look at the map of the service. The majority of services go via Notting Hill and Shepherd's Bush, but there's also some during the day that go via Baker Street instead, and also some peak hour expresses too. After the stop at Hillingdon, which is directly outside the London Underground station, they speed up the A40 and M40 with an intriguing stop at Lucknow, more on that later, before calling at Thornhill Park and Ride on the outskirts of Oxford, and then stopping at Headington, and then a few more local stops within Oxford itself.
Got the top deck all to myself. I think I saw a toilet downstairs. There's 2 sets of stairs. This is nice. This is a nice, I want to say bus. It's a coach. Is it a coach or a bus? Let's go with a coach. It's nice.
So I'm on an early morning service out of London. Hello there, Sunrise. And these are nice coaches. They're Volvo Plaxton B11R coaches, double-decker, with 2 sets of staircases to get to the top deck. There's luggage space and an accessible wheelchair space as well. And yes, there's very much a toilet on board too. Oxford Tube have a fleet of 32 coaches in total, with a peak vehicle requirement of 26. That means that the rest, up to 6 coaches, can be in the depot for maintenance and repair at any time. And we'll go to the depot later for a quick look around. And on board, there's this nifty little phone holder on the back of each seat. A flap pops out and you snap your phone in. And it can be wirelessly charged this way as well, alongside a regular USB charging point too. You can move the armrest to adjust as required, and also the seats recline. Overall, it's a very comfortable coach. The coach fills up as we make the inner London stops, and there are some coveted table seats downstairs which are popular with those getting online with their laptops. And then we hit the Westway, that's the A40, which after a while soon becomes the M40 at the Denham roundabout. And I'm starting to realise now that the reason why this route works and is so popular is because about 90% of the route is on motorway or dual carriageway roads. It's only at the ends at Oxford and inner London that you're with all the local traffic. The rest of the time, you're simply speeding along.
Simply sit back, relax and enjoy your journey.
So we're now speeding up the M40. 2 things to note. Many years ago, when I first completed Tube Challenge, which worryingly was about 20 years ago, my friend Jono at the time said to me, Geoff, you may have been on every tube line, but have you been on the Oxford Tube? And that was the first time that I'd heard of the Oxford Tube, and I hadn't. Jono, if you're watching, 20 years later, the answer is now yes, I've been on the Oxford Tube. And the other thing, I'm talking quite quietly because there's quite a few people asleep. The seats are really comfortable. They recline back, and a lot of people, it's quite common, just get on board, get on the top deck, lie back, have a snooze all the way from London to Oxford. It's a great place to have a nap.
So we're speeding along the M40 in a northwesterly direction, when, literally, there's an oddity of a place to stop. The coach comes off at Junction 6. This is the Luca Turn, or Luca Interchange, where on the road that it connects with, the B4009, there is a bus and coach stop that the Oxford Tube stops at in both directions.
So I'm just fascinated by these strange bus stops. There's one Oxford bound here, and there's one London bound over there, where buses, coaches can come off the M40 and serve
these points here. It says it's called Lucknow, although the sign there says it serves a town called Watlington. And I understand, tractor, from all the cars parked over there, that this sort of becomes like an unofficial park and ride stop for buses and coaches that stop here. It's just a fun little oddity, anomaly along the M40, the Lucknow bus stops. Horsepath Depot to the east of Oxford is where the Oxford Tube operates from, and is also a depot too for local Stagecoach services as well. There's several buses and coaches parked up here, including this one, full marks to whomever had the great idea to get this licence plate onto some of the coaches. But before anything else, I must get my burning question answered. Why is it called the Oxford Tube? So that's the first thing I ask when I talk to Chris, the managing director of Stagecoach West.
It's been called that since 1987, which is only just, but before I was born. It was called that to really help it line it in with the rest of London. So Tube is obviously a nickname for the Underground, but isn't a name that they use officially, so therefore it could get away with it. And it's really just to show its interconnectivity. That's why the bus is the colour that it is, so that the coach is red at the front, so it very neatly slots into the London as it goes in. So that's what it's all about, and it's now infamous.
And Chris confirms what I'd thought. The proximity of the nearby M40 is what enables this service to run so frequently and be so popular in its usage.
The reason it was here originally is it's right next to the M40 and the A40, so you've got a very quick and easy road link into London. It means it's close enough that we can run the coach nice and frequently, so that we don't have enormous numbers of vehicles on it. We have about just over 30 tube coaches. The longer the route, the more coaches you'd have to put onto it, the more cost that puts in. A bit like a Venn diagram, they all meet in the middle, and Oxford is right there as the perfect place for the tube to run to.
Like the Oxford Tube, the depot is open 24 hours a day for Stagecoach and Oxford Tube drivers. By the way, the tube service has 112 drivers in total. And at the site, there's training facilities like you'd expect, and obviously a canteen for that all-important lunch and cup of tea. I'm then shown round the maintenance areas by Paul.
Okay, so this is part of the engineering department at Oxford. So this area is predominantly for sort of MOT preparation, body work, any sort of panel work, etc. This is where we do most of the outer work on the vehicles. Over here we've got the 5 vehicle pits, where obviously they can get in and do all of the maintenance that's required on the vehicle underneath, etc. That's Ivor, he's one of our bodyman, so he's doing the paint work, he's restructuring the bus for whatever reason. This is where we do all the maintenance.
Oxford Tube coaches do a lot of mileage, over 125,000 miles per year. So the fleet gets refurbished all in one go on a regular basis, as Chris explains.
So the next step will be using market research that we've started to do already on what do customers want now. So these coaches, for example, have mobile chargers and wireless chargers on them, but we know that some customers want slightly higher powered ones to power laptops and stuff like that. So these are the things that we gather the feedback, and then when we make the fleet change, it all happens at once so that the customer's experience is consistent.
Gloucester Green bus station in Oxford is where the route starts and ends from, and it's there that the Oxford side control room is based as well.
So yeah, this is the control room for Oxford Tube, for the main bus station Gloucester Green. This is where we're tracking the buses with the timings. This is we can get the maps. When we divert the buses, is also where we put all this information if some stop hasn't been serviced or if the bus is gonna go some other way. Any fallen tree, any road works. So we monitor it here, and then from here we can divert the buses in a different way if they're stuck, or if it's just a normal accident on the motorway, or it doesn't have to be motorway any other way. Along the route we'll just monitor it here, and then we divert the buses. London, we got a different controller who operates in London, so obviously we work together. But he will take the care of a London side. On this office we will mostly take care of on the Oxford side.
And for a final word, I then caught up with Rob, the operations manager, to talk about why he loves the Oxford Tube so much.
So one thing that I would say differentiates Oxford Tube from any other coach operation is the standard that we deliver as a team. It's, you know, yes, it's all about customer service, it's about going above and beyond for customers, but what I think customers and the general public don't see is what that looks like behind the scenes. It's, you know, maybe cutting a brake shorter than the driver would expect it to be, obviously keeping it legal, but people put themselves out to put the operation first, and that's something really special and something that really does add value to us as a business. And something that we're very proud of. Yeah.
Almost time for me to go home, but I've saved my favourite question until last.
Final cheeky question, which I already know the answer to because I asked you earlier. You do still occasionally get behind the wheel, is that right?
Yep.
And that's important, right?
Oh, 100%. You know, it's my career started in the bus and coach industry as a driver, and actually it's the most, for me, most rewarding job and the most enjoyable job that I've done. Every day is different, and actually to manage something, I firmly believe that you need to be able to understand every level of what it is you're managing. So yeah, for sure, you know, I don't get to do it as much as I'd like because of time constraints, but yeah, when I get the opportunity.
I was going to ask if you could drive me back later.
Yeah,
you
I'll
could be
take
my
you back.
driver.
Not a problem.
To drive me down the motorway.
I'll take you back. Yeah, we can do that.
Can we make that happen?
We can. Yeah.
I'm getting a strange look from the guy.
Yeah, it's yeah. If I'm allowed out the office, then yeah, I'll happily drive you back to London.
I'll have a word. I'll see what I can do. All right.
On my trip back to London, I made sure to get out at Hillingdon Underground Station, as this is a great interchange point as the Oxford Tube pulls up literally right outside the station. And then I got the next coach back down to Victoria. And so that is the Oxford Tube, the express coach service between London and Oxford, running 24 hours a day. My thanks to everyone at Oxford Tube and Stagecoach for having me and showing me around. If you like this kind of stuff, then keep watching, press subscribe. See you in the next video. Thanks a lot.